Welcome to the Top Style Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we're super excited to have Taly Matetyahu, the founder of Blink Date. She is a prolific entrepreneur. She is a lawyer. She went to Columbia Law, NYU. She worked for Netflix, Datadog, all kinds of things. And now she's a full-time focused on Blink Date, the app that's a voice-first dating application. You know, this is when I first heard of this, I was like, yeah, another dating app. Man, I'm too old for this. What is this? And after I figured I listened to her podcast. She does a podcast called Date in the Blink. And after listening to a couple of episodes, I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I come up with that? Wow, this is something. But you know, let me get to her first. So welcome, thank you, Taly, for being with us. We really appreciate it. So you are joining us from New York, right?
I am, yes, I'm in Brooklyn.
Wow, Brooklyn. You used to live in LA when you were with the SAMP Accelerator or something?
I was in LA from almost the entirety of the pandemic for 2.5 years, and then I boomeranged back to New York. So I spent a little bit of time in LA, but I'm an East Coaster at heart.
Yes, wow. Okay, Taly, okay, I want to get to that story. This blackout restaurant, what is happening there? I want to know the inspiration, how this the Blink Date happened, and what this Blink Date is. You know, every time you say it, I'm like, okay, now I get it. So this time I'm trying to listen carefully.
So I'll start with the story, the blackout restaurant. So I went to this restaurant thinking, hey, this will just be kind of a cool way to experience eating in the dark. I won't be able to see anything. And it was really cool. Like, I don't know if you've ever, tried putting a blindfold on when you're eating and you'll realize how many times you bring an empty fork to your mouth. Like, it's a really cool experience. But the thing that really stood out to me was the experience of getting to know people in the dark without seeing them first. And I was seated with strangers, had never met them before, didn't know what they looked like, and had a really amazing conversation. And, we were able to laugh, be vulnerable. You kind of shed your insecurities because you don't feel like you're being judged. And it was a beautiful evening. And after the dinner ended, I saw them for the first time outside the restaurant. And I realized I would not have had that conversation with them had I seen them first, because I would have assumed all sorts of things about them. I would have been wrong. Nothing bad. We make assumptions about people based on what they're wearing and how tall they are and, their skin color, like all sorts of things. And we do that every single day in our lives, in the grocery store, in the library, at work, on the street. And in dating in particular now, people are doing that in less than 1 second. They're swiping left and right based primarily on attractiveness and race. And I'm not saying love is blind. Love is not blind. But the way that modern dating works today, the way that online dating works right now is not working. People are swiping on things that aren't really determinant of whether or not they're going to be compatible with someone. And profiles aren't really a great representation of who we are. They're, a snapshot of us. They're a baseball card version of us. And so the idea for Blink is to help people move past that and start with the conversation. Talk to someone for 10 minutes. It only takes about 4 for us to decide whether or not we want to continue getting to know someone. Talk for 10 minutes and then look at the photos. And just psychologically, you're going to change how you rate photos after you've spoken to someone based on who the person is and whether you like them and want to continue getting to know them. And so in doing this and building Blink, the idea is to help expand people's dating pools, help them move beyond just that photo, that snap decision that just really isn't serving them when it comes to looking for a life partner.
Yeah. Wow, that's like a poetic explanation. Wow, with inspiration, with everything, fantastic. Okay. Before we get to the features of the app, what's the name of that blackout restaurant?
It's called Malagat. It is not in the United States. I think there are only about 7 blackout restaurants in the world. There might be one in Canada. I can't remember offhand.
Where was this one?
This one was in Israel.
Oh, it's in Israel. Oh, man. Oh, okay. I love all the comedians from Israel. I listened to Ari Shafir recently. Wow.
Oh, I haven't heard of him. I'll have to check him out.
He's very recent, very so good. And he studied in Israel for a couple years, and he was going to be a rabbi, but then he became a comedian. So that's
one road or the other,
So okay. Wow. So that's something. Okay. Now, so this app, I don't need to create a profile. I just provide like maybe the name, the age, sexuality, location, some of those things, and then I get the booking. So I get to talk to someone for 10 minutes, and I don't no swiping, nothing. It's done for me, and then I have the conversation after that. If both parties says yes, then it moves to the next round.
Correct. Yep.
Wow.
One thing I don't think people realize, most singles are swiping on dating apps for 10 hours a week. We cut all of that out, just swiping, not even really engaging with one another. And that's a lot of time to waste just looking at profiles. And so you tell us what you're looking for, you tell us when you're free, and we schedule you for 10-minute dates where you very quickly get to decide and more accurately whether or not you want to continue exploring a connection.
This is the time consuming part. I am not in the dating world for a long time now, but back in the days, I clearly remember when I was starting out, I think I was working, and there was one guy, he was always swiping and on Tinder. I'm like, dude, if you spend that time creating a company or doing something else, you will have enough money to hire an assistant to do the swiping for you. And now you've totally taken the swiping out of the equation. You're like, you don't need that. Let me get it done for you. So this is all in one. And after that 10-minute conversation, like these VCs give like 60-second pitch and elevator pitch and all. 10-minute, that's a significant time to know, okay, whether that's going to work out, right? So this is fantastic. And I have some comedic material that I got from I listened to 2-3 of your episodes of that. So I was like, that's gold. That's gold. I wish other people knew this, but I'm sure comedians are going to be all over your podcast very soon. So okay, let's get to the podcast. So where did that come from? Where did that come in?
So I'm a non-technical founder, which means that I couldn't build Blink myself. I had to have someone else do it, but I still wanted to get started and just do a proof of concept, talk to daters, have them go through the experience, but not necessarily just have that be, conversations. What people say they want, what people are willing to do, what people think of it afterwards, those aren't always the same. And so I thought, why not give this experience to people, record it, and then use it as essentially materials that can educate other people. What is this experience like? It's evergreen marketing materials, essentially. And so the idea with the podcast was to bring on singles, pair them up for 10-minute dates, record them, and then ask them what they thought about it. And I think we had about 70 people ultimately between 2 seasons. We had more demand than expected for both seasons. I was expecting it to just be a few episodes, but ended up pairing a bunch of folks. And every single person, even the ones who didn't enjoy their date, who didn't want to continue the conversation with that person, said that they enjoyed the experience because it was so much better than the swiping experience. It was refreshing, it was fun, and it just felt more natural than sitting behind a screen. So it was kind of a signal to me that, look, all of these people didn't match, but they all want to continue dating this way because it brings them back to what dating is really about. And that's one of the core things that's wrong with, existing dating apps. They're not really dating apps. They just match people. And so what Blink is, at its core is a dating app.
Blink, the idea is amazing. And then the podcast, you are terrific. That's just gold. I'm telling you that you're gonna get so much hit on the podcast. You're gonna be famous on that. First, forget non-technical. You are so good. No technical founder can do it. You had the, I was listening. Katie and Eric.
Okay.
You had Katie and
Eric. One of the more recent episodes, yeah.
Yes, because it showed up on Spotify, on top, and I was like, okay, let's see what they're saying. And Katie was so amazing. She was like, oh, your voice is amazing, this and that. She was talking, and this Eric goes, I live in my basement, and I grow plants. I have less human interaction. And I thought literally, the Katie's gonna call 911, or she's gonna be hanging up immediately. She's like, okay, yeah, Verizon, my connection got lost. Instead, she goes, oh, cool, you're a plant person.
Yeah.
I was like, what? A guy growing plants in a basement? A plant person?
There's some plants that don't need a lot of light.
I'm like, Oh, wow. Eric, what are you doing? Whatever you are doing, you got to stop and find this girl and get married. This is it for you.
They did match. What happened afterwards, but they did match.
And you know, these stories are so awesome because even in your podcast, let's say I'm listening to some Tom Style, Joe Rogan, anybody, whoever it is. After some time, if there is an ad, I'm like, yeah, let's move to the next or something else. But you know, I'm not stopping, so it's phenomenal. And I loved one thing. You know, one of your experts came in later, like, nah, you know, they didn't match. And then you go after that. Actually, they matched. I was like, whatever she's doing, I want her to be successful. This is gold. And
signed up, posted essentially kind of like a casting call on various platforms, on professional networks, on like just various places, and a bunch of people responded. And I tried to match people, obviously age, gender preference, things like that. Like those were hard requirements, but I also tried to look at where people were based, and they were both geographically close to one another. We had a few that were kind of like a little further apart, but we, you know, asked if people were okay with that. But we had people all over the world. I had a couple.
It's fantastic, you know. And one part I was like, so you get to listen when they're talking, like with the goggles, the blackout dress, you're like, okay, I'm listening. You know, so now one thing I clearly get that you have phenomenal matchmaking, like it's intuitive to you because you found them and put them together, you know, on your podcast. So I think, I don't know whether you're going to do
that. We don't have that yet, but
and it's not just computerized. You are going to be in the background. There's going to be podcasts, so the whole world listening. What's going to happen next? What is Katie going to say to that? You know, so this is going to be this is something. Now, you mentioned somewhere that the Love is Blind on Netflix. I think that was also an inspiration.
They weren't an inspiration. It just happened to happen right around the same time that I started working on. Like I had no idea Love is Blind was coming out. I think it came out right in March, which was a few weeks after I kind of kicked off this journey, March of 2020. And it was like, oh my goodness, okay, people are into this idea of moving past just the images and actually getting to know someone. And I don't, like I said, I don't believe love is blind. It's not. Attraction is a portion of the you know, equation when you're thinking about partnership, but it looks like something different for everyone. And from a psychological perspective, our attraction to someone changes as we get to know them. So somebody who might not have been our type, somebody we might not have swiped right on, can be your perfect person, and you might think that they're, you know, the most beautiful person on the planet once you get to know them. And dating apps today don't support that experience. They are just solely based on the appearances. And there was a matchmaker who once said, wow. You know, so another thing, I listened to one more, and people are gonna be, okay, what is he doing? What is he doing? Why is he reviewing a podcast here? But I gotta say this. This is. I don't know. The next one came up was Jonathan and Elle, something like that, and where Elle goes. So what is pineapple and pizza? First, I consume the meat, like the Liver King or something he said around that. Then I get the vegetables. Then I get the noodles. Yeah.
I was like,
I remember this. And I was like,
okay. This is not happening. Is it scripted? Is Jerry Seinfeld listening? Who wrote this? Is it Larry David? I was like, this is as good as any Seinfeld skit ever. This is perfect, you know.
Naturally, the only thing I do is give them a question at the beginning of the date. It's just meant to be an icebreaker, a different one every date. And I can't remember what theirs was, if it related to food, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. I gotta listen to the rest of your podcast. I got to know that you were coming this morning, last night. So I was like, okay, I gotta get to some.
Maybe not this. I've been dropping seasons every Valentine's Day. We won't be doing one this Valentine's Day because I just launched the app and I'm focusing on that. But
there gotta be a season 3. That's what I'm waiting for. This is the thing. And when you have season 3, or I watch some of the rest of the stuff, I might even do a monologue on your podcast. And this is one of our experts. Oh wow! You are the expert. You're very good at it. This is natural. Now, that brings up the question. So, is it this dating thing? Is that coming naturally to you, or is it kind of like you respond to it? That's how they do, and a lot of them don't thinking it from the technical perspective without realizing how that affects how the product market fit, or any of those, how the product affects the consumers. But so is this coming naturally to you that?
Are we talking in terms of the matchmaking or in terms of?
Yeah, the entrepreneur in the matchmaking world, entrepreneurship in the matchmaking world.
A bit of both. I'm a first-time founder, so there's always that feeling of, am I doing it right? But I try not to let imposter syndrome get to me. I'm the sort of person that has a list of things to do and just kind of knocks them out. So I don't make time for those sorts of things. And I try to focus on the things that I get done more than the, questioning whether or not I'm doing it right. And so I feel like I might not necessarily be doing everything right, but I don't need to worry about that on a regular basis. I just sort of do and learn from the journey.
That is correct. You are doing it right. You're doing it very good. In terms of marketing, you're doing a terrific job. That I gotta say, because this is fantastic. Because the other thing that comes with it is, I was talking to a lawyer.
What it's worth, I think, being a lawyer has been helpful in being a founder. I think it changes how you think about that risk benefit balance, which is, a portion of every day. But, I think, yeah, you're right. Being a lawyer, you see all sorts of different things. Obviously, not all lawyers are working in family.
Yes. And so let's get to your background a little bit. This is an impressive resume. You work for the big tech, you work for all these data dogs, and so the data, AI, you got it all, the legal part. So you can give me a little background. I have said it before, but I think people would love to listen.
I went to school in New York, like you said. I went to NYU and then Columbia Law, and for most of my youth, I planned to be a lawyer. And I followed that path. I took a year off between undergrad and law school.
What's the name of that company, bud?
It's called Playtech.
Okay.
They do online gaming software it's a B2B company, so they license it out. It's pretty cool company. But I was doing legal operations there. Came back, went to law school, started practicing law, and realized pretty quickly that I didn't like it, and realized I was too young to spend my life doing something I know I didn't like. I'm type A personality who throws myself into the things that I do love. So I know what I'm like when I am passionate about something, and I wanted to have that spark. And so I left legal practice. I had loved doing legal operations, which is kind of the application of tech tools to legal. So it's kind of like sales operations, but in the legal bubble. And I loved it when I was doing it at Playtech in Israel. And so I transitioned back into doing.
So right now you're full-time at Blink.
Yes.
Wow. It's a big loss for big tech and law. You're like David Rubenstein. I listen to his show a lot. He has a show where he mostly brings in fellow billionaires, and so he left law and started private equity, and you left law and big tech and started a dating app, a voice first dating app. But the concept is perfect. I love the concept. And there's just so much that you can do with it. I was even thinking that, okay, she has this, I had a founder on the show, Karen Andrea. She did a mental health app. And I was thinking, and that analyzes your tone, the intonation, the how you feel based on the voice. So I was like, she has 10 minutes of voice data when these people are talking. After if she provides enough of that data to the AI, and it will automatically detect which person is going to be right for this guy, and it's perfectly done.
I don't know if we'll put ads in the middle of the dates because I don't want to interrupt people's flow, but like a book ending, maybe. We'll see.
I'm giving bad ideas for the consumers. You're thinking how to help the consumer.
I want them to have a positive date, not one that's going to get cut off by the way, hey, we need new blinds.
Yes, yes. No, your ideas are good. You're like Jeff Bezos that way, like consume.
You could do both. You could do both.
No, fantastic. I know you.
Oh, no, it's a team of one. I've got
Okay.
some help from former colleagues. I've got two designers from my former job as a PM, my former engineering manager, former QA engineer. They're all helping me part-time capacities. Friends from
One and a bunch of other people that are providing services, helping you out to build it. Now, are you? So what phase are you in? Like, are you in the?
In terms of, this is funny because I feel like different people think about it different ways, whether it's in terms of dollar amount or stage. In terms of our stage, pre-seed, and currently at that moment where we're proving out product market fit and need capital to grow and scale. And then from a raise perspective, I would say folks think that we're kind of maybe in the in terms of the stage of the company versus the raise that we plan on doing. You could classify.
Is that public number, or that how much you're going to raise?
I plan on raising a 500K round in the next couple months. So sometime in the near future, just want to have a little bit, like I said, we launched in New York, which is, I'd been based in LA. I did a beta out there, but after moving back to New York, it didn't make sense to keep doing that. I do a lot of grassroots marketing, and New York is a great place to do that. So launched in New York about a month ago.
So we got to get to that. So right now, it's only available in New York.
Correct.
Oh, okay. I was thinking anybody can sign up from anywhere. So you have to be in
I did the LA beta. I hadn't done a geofence and people could download it from anywhere. But if we had people in Kansas downloading it and, signing up and saying, hey, I'm not getting any matches, it's because, we're not focusing marketing in Kansas and we don't want to provide those people with that bad experience. And it, also added strain in terms of, them reaching out for customer support. It's a small team, answering those sorts of requests takes time. And so
start at a particular university and then, that can go viral. You were a lawyer from big tech and, you're only raising 500K. It'll take you like minutes, as soon as it airs, the Tom Style show. We had a founder on our first show. He came in, he didn't have any particular preparation or anything. He was just, talking about his passion and what he was doing. And after the show,
you're a magician, Tom.
This is also very new for me. But I just started. I think how many weeks has it been? Like 6-7 weeks, right? And in the beginning, we didn't have any guests. So I said, Edwin, why are you not booking guests? He said, nobody knows. Nobody knows anything. We have no video. So I said, okay, just put the camera on me. I'll talk about something, whatever. And that's how we started.
We both have lots of stuff to listen to because I have to listen to all of your old episodes. I haven't caught.
These are not as juicy details with the food separatist. Oh, that's
some good ones in there.
Yeah. Thank you. That's very kind. So right now you're a team of one. You have people helping you, and you're raising the fund. So, are you thinking of getting a CTO after the fundraising, or what's the first thing you're gonna hire?
So I have a developer right now who's part-time. I'd love for him to be full-time. In terms of a CTO, we're not a hard tech company. It's not a strict necessity, but if I were to find the right person, beautiful. Otherwise, it would, just having a strong tech lead is something that I would really prioritize. And then the other really big piece of the equation is marketing. We want to be able to reach more people. And right now, like I said, I'm doing a lot of grassroots type stuff, but to be able to scale that a little bit more, having somebody else helping alongside me would be really great.
No, absolutely. No, I think, but marketing, do not hire anybody for now because we want to see you on the marketing, the face of the company. That has to happen.
That happens behind the scenes in addition, though, for marketing. There's a lot of building reports and campaigns and making assets and all of those things. It's a lot of work hats off to marketers. There's just a lot of channels and a lot of methods. So yeah. The next step, probably continue doing some guerrilla grassroots type marketing. Because like you said, it's more than just being a face of the company, but connecting with people one-on-one and showing them I'm not just building another Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, and I'm actually building something that's quite different. Like a lot of people, when they hear dating apps, sort of like what you said, they're mentally swiping left. They're like, oh, just another one. And so getting out there and talking to people and showing them that we're truly different is super valuable. Like and I've developed like really solid relationships with some of these people just independently. Like I email with them afterwards, I stay in touch with them, surveys, user interviews. And so it's a really powerful way to get a good gauge of product market fit. So I do plan on continuing to do that. I do want to tap into the universities, NYU and Columbia, having been an alum of both or being an alum of both. I do want to tap into those communities. It is a slightly different age demographic. So the goals of younger daters are different. And so it's not my key piece of my strategy. I do a lot of events where I join pre-existing events, so that way I don't talk to the folks there, obviously with the approval of the venue and the event host, but that's kind of like my bread and butter these days. So yeah, lots of different, threads that I'm pulling.
These are fantastic strategies. And one thing about if somebody else is pitching, it's another social media app or things like that, people are like, yeah, thank you, great, I'm not. But dating, you need it, right? It's not they're not signing up for your service because of helping you to make money. They need somebody, and they gotta talk to people. They gotta have enough conversations to figure out who the right person is. And so this is a necessity. And no matter how many competitors there are, it could be hundreds of thousands. It doesn't matter, because dating, everybody's like, oh, there's so many people, and if somebody I know might find out I'm on this, that's not a good
toggle. We don't have this yet, but one person told me, they're a therapist. They're like, I don't want to have anyone in my phone contacts to be someone I go on a date with. So filtering out people you already know is something that's on the radar, so that way you don't end up going on a date with someone you don't want to, who's already, let's say, a client. So that's something that's on the roadmap. So don't.
Yes.
Your match has gone wrong.
Yes. Blink. No.
Blink is sort of like an eye opening and closing. So it plays on the seeing and not seeing. It's also quick, blink of an eye. The dates are kind of like speed dates. So the concept of something being quick. The B obviously looks like a little sideways heart. And so our logo is this little racing bee. So kind of like the speed date concept. And it rhymes with some fun words like wink, think, sync. So you could play with that in marketing material. So all sorts of different reasons for the idea of blink, but it just sort of came to me one day and I was like, I really like this. It kind of has all sorts of different
security and all that, fitness, no, that makes no sense. But the dating part, that makes a lot of sense to me, because that makes a lot. Yeah, you're on the right track. Have you found a match?
I am not in the dating market. I have, and another reason I created Blink was because I never would have swiped right. I would have missed out on a fabulous person, a compatible partner, all because his profile wouldn't have been what I was looking for. And like I said,
was it the Blackout restaurant? That's how you found him?
I met him not on a dating app, my dirty secret. I met him in real life in a library. So it is possible to meet.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that, because, the reason it's super important, founders that are successful, they create a product for them first before they make it for everybody else. Like, I'm not founding a YouTube channel or anything, but this is something I regularly do. I sit down with so many people and talk to them, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I videotape that? I'm getting older, This is the youngest I'm gonna be, Just put it on everywhere, Let the young people see me, So that was like a natural thing, and I think for you kind of figured, okay, I'm trying to find the right person. And
I check the boxes, even though, yeah.
No, by the way, I was looking at your LinkedIn page or something.
Dog treat bag, actually. So I have two furry critters. One of them is very anxious. Living in New York, everything was a trigger for him. And I tried different treat bags on the market, and they were all like gigantic, or I couldn't open it with a glove on. And it was just, I couldn't get treats out in time. So I just started making my own, and then decided to work with somebody to prototype them, and ended up making a pet project. I don't invest a ton of time in marketing because Blink takes up basically all of my time, but they're available. And
so you're, this is not your first time. You're entrepreneurial throughout. You're always thinking that in the back of your mind. At the same time, we managed to make a fantastic, outstanding resume, and then you said, you know what, now let's focus on the back of the head ideas and let's make them a reality. No, I think anybody that's listening, I love the podcast. I love the concept of the app. I wish this is available very soon in Silicon Valley or in LA or Florida, the major cities. That would be amazing. So, this is fantastic. So now if anybody wants to, a lot of investors tune in. They don't comment or anything. They just see what's happening. Let's take a look. So if they want to contact you, what should they do? Do they go to your website or like LinkedIn or?
They can check out the website at theblinkdate.com. They could also email me, Taly at theblinkdate.com. They can find me really on any social platform if they're inclined. LinkedIn works. I'm also, as a company, we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the Blink Date. So very easy to find, and happy to chat with investors, obviously, but also happy to chat with daters who want to talk about their dating journeys.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Yeah. You can if there's too many calls from investors, you're like, you guys have to sign up for the 10-minute session.
Right.
that way.
For investing and pitching.
Yes, the pitching, dating, all done together. Combo package. So thank you. So now, before I let you go, any word of advice for a current law student or an engineer or anybody, and young entrepreneur, old entrepreneur, anybody that's saying, hey, you know what, I have a lot of ideas, but I'm busy with my life, but I'm putting it back. I want to hear from her. So any word of advice for them?
I'm going to steal advice that somebody gave me. So they were talking, it was a law school professor who had clerked on the Supreme Court and had a baby while she was clerking. And that's unheard of because you have 1 year when you're clerking on the Supreme Court. So you're usually, people don't take vacations, they don't do anything. And she was talking to us, and I think this applies in all sorts of contexts, whether it's creating a startup, jumping careers, all of these different things. She said there's never a good time for some of these things. You try to plan, you think when you want to do it, you keep saying, oh, later when this is done. There's never a good time. Sometimes you just have to take the leap and you do it, even if it's not a convenient time to do it. And I think that if you're thinking about trying something different, if you, want to try building something, you just got to jump in. You're not going to figure it all out on day one, but you have to start. And so just take the leap and trust that everything else will follow.
Wow, that's beautiful. We got to keep it there. We got that. That's epic. People are like, oh my God. Okay. And if you want to hear more, you got to tune into our podcast, the Date in the Blink, and then download the blinkdate.com, the app, Blink Date on the app stores. Download the app, get on the waiting list, so that way she can come to your city faster. If there's too many people, too much requests, you're like, okay, I got to go to San Francisco, or I got to go to LA. That way we can get the product faster. This is a brilliant idea. I love the idea and the execution, the plan, everything you're doing. You're on the right track. And I'm just so glad that you came on the show. Thank you so much, Taly. We really appreciate it. And whenever you have the next development, come back on. Whenever you're dropping by to San Francisco, come back on the show, tell us more, and of course I'll definitely have some more stories about once I listen to a couple more of Jonathan and Elle and Katie and Eric. And by the way, Katie and Eric, if you're listening, you guys come on the show, get engaged, get married. I'll pay for your flight, hotel, San Francisco. You got to do nothing, and I'm gonna have the founder herself in the background.
I can't wait for the first Blink wedding. That will be like a dream come true. So I will definitely be there.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Thank you, Taly. Really appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe.